Hi, welcome back to Guessagaingaming from London, Watchdogs Legion, and yeah, it's night, it's foggy, it's raining, it's London. There's the river, you can hardly see the river, it's so foggy and wet. And this young lady here is not really dressed for the weather, other than she's got a hat, which is always handy if you're going to be out in the rain, I guess. Anyway, so today I'm just going to make another little update, comment, whatever, on things in gaming, things related to woke games especially, and the message in games and modern audiences and all that stuff. So I've been seeing a lot of things recently about Ubisoft and the problems they've had with all their games. We know some of it already, and it's new bits and pieces all the time with all the different games that have come under the spotlight that Ubisoft have made. It's not just Ubisoft, but they've been really in it recently. And one thing I saw in a few different places on YouTube, this isn't my own research, I haven't got sources, I'm just an individual, but so my sources are other things I see online or read or whatever. But I've seen that people at Ubisoft or former employees or current employees in secret have said that there's a really toxic atmosphere there, and basically you can't criticise anything because you're called, as every gamer who criticises anything is called as well, you're called a racist or a sexist if you do. And that kind of explains some of what's been going on inside gaming developers and gaming studios, because if you can't say something's shit or rubbish or it won't sell because you're scared of someone telling you you're racist or sexist or just criticising them would be a problem, that explains some of it. But it doesn't really explain all of it, because that would there'd still be people at these companies, not just Ubisoft, where they would realise at a certain point that this isn't really going to be profitable, even if all the developers and everyone in-house sits there and goes, yes, this is great, and it's not, but they're scared. And it would still mean that somebody somewhere would still look at it, and someone independent, someone would test it, and they would realise there's something not quite right about this, it's not really as good as we think it is, it's not going to make us money. So then you come on to something I've said before, which is are game developers making games that they just don't care are rubbish, which would be weird, wouldn't it? Because whether it's Ubisoft or whether it's whoever it might be, or whether it's a studio like Disney making rubbish Star Wars stuff, it doesn't really matter. They want to make money, you assume. Well, we assume, but do they? Because there's only two kind of possibilities really, and it's either that they don't care how good stuff is, and they don't really ask anybody other than in-house people, and they're all as dumb as bricks, or just completely yes people that just agree with everything. And it's kind of hard to believe that it goes through all these things, whether it's movies or series or games. They take a long time to make. So in that time, someone would realise and say, look, hang on a sec, because it doesn't matter how many people are under the thumb or mind controlled or whatever it might be, scared to speak up, all those things and more. Someone somewhere would at some point say, hang on a sec, over the long development or production time, that this isn't good. So the only other thought is, do they think that it's so important to either destroy things, and I mentioned this before once, to make games that the awful male gamers won't like, so that will get them back for being male and gamers, accompanied with maybe they think that it's so important to get out this message to the modern audience, this message of wokeism and feminism and all the other rubbish, that they don't really care. It's just like, well, we don't care if we make money because you need to hear this from us, we need to explain the message, and you're going to listen. And I think it's probably a mixture of the second and third. I don't believe that these companies don't care if they make money and don't realise these things aren't going to sell, because there's been too many over too much time now, and each time, with anything, they watch other development, their own games, other studios, whatever it might be, making flops and making things that get criticised, and they would realise, because everyone does. It's normal in life, and these are big companies with loads of people advising them. So the only thing I can think is that They are partly making stuff so they can get back at male gamers, or in the case of movies and things like Star Wars, male audiences who like the original Star Wars. And partly it's because they just want the male or white male audience to get the message, to understand what they need to think and what they need to know. And it doesn't really matter whether they lose money. These people making these games and these shows, like I said before, we've seen from the things at Disney, they don't actually care about making money. It's obvious from things they say and the things they make. They're just interested in pushing their message, and that's kind of what it is. And it's actually really frightening, and I mean that sincerely. It's really frightening because if you look back through history, how many different very dangerous organisations and movements, and I'm not going to go through names because people criticise me for comparing things, but started by people not calling them out and being allowed to get away with stuff. And if you think how long this woke thing's gone on and how much damage they've done to films and movies and games and culture and popular series, popular games, things with long histories, and how much damage they've done, it's actually scary that they were doing this. And it's been obvious for a long time that they've been pushing a message, and it's become more obvious that they don't care what they push out as long as they get the message out. And it's terrifying that can happen. But I think especially in the Western world, one thing that we kind of always rely on, and it's a weird thing to rely on, is that capitalism will always kind of come through because people want to make money. So if someone's got an awful message, whether it's a racist, feminist, woke, fascist, right-wing, left-wing, whatever the message, communist, whatever the message might be, people want to make money at the bigger companies and movie studios, so they'll never get the finance to make them because people want to make money, and they won't try and push that because they know it won't go well. But we've actually seen with this feminist wokeist stuff that actually they will get money, and they can do it for a very long time in completely plain sight with everyone criticising and knowing it, and get away with it. And that's scary because it might not have been woke, it might not have been feminism, and in the future it might not be. It could be any agenda somebody's got that they can put into something, disguise it as something else, frighten not only employees but critics and audiences into thinking that they have to agree, or they'll be criticised for being sexist, racist, anti, whatever it might be, and they can get away with it and do it. So it's a lesson, I think, for society, for the modern audience, for the modern world, that this can happen, and it's really easy for it to happen. And it, like I said, it may not have been woke and feminism, it could have been absolutely anything, and it could have just been pushed through because we've seen it happen. And we know that even though it was spotted long time ago, many years back it started, and it was spotted, no one did anything, and if anyone did, they were called out as being racist or sexist, etc. So it's a lesson we should learn from, and we should be on our guard for anything in the future that's pushing messages in media, especially in popular media, in entertainment media, where young people, kids, as in Star Wars, games, anything, where people are going to possibly be influenced by this, because it's one thing, yeah, okay, loads of people hate it, lots of people called out the woke stuff and the feminist stuff in the Disney things and in movies and in series and in games. But of course, out of that, there's going to be some people who are modern audiences, or young, or easily influenced, who don't get it, and they've been influenced by the message for good. And that's the scary part, because all the people that have been up in arms against the wokeness and etc., they've kind of won. It's all falling apart now. But there's people that have been influenced, and they're the ones that we should be scared about, because there's no doubt in my mind that some people have been influenced by this stuff without realising, because they don't watch YouTube and they don't watch all the reports and all the critics and people talking about this. They just see a game or see a series and think, oh yeah. Because let's be honest, quite a lot of people are A, easily influenced, B, slightly dumb, and 3, don't watch loads and loads of content on YouTube or whatever it might be, talking about what's in gaming and why they're made like that, or what's in a movie and why it's made like that, or what's in Disney and why it's done like that. So I think it's an important lesson for the world, especially for the world of media, and especially for just everybody, actually. Anyway, thanks for watching Guessagaingaming. Thoughts on wokeism and feminism, ongoing. Until next time, take care for now.